Part 27. The School Sweetheart Soft Green Plum is Sweet and Wild. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 261. Chapter 261. Are you angry again? No, just say what you just said again. Lucien felt like he was in a dream, and the more he thought about it, the more unreal it became. Lu Ning couldn't help but twitch her lips. If you do this again, I will take back what I just said. Okay, if you don't want to say it, don't say it. What you just said, we will be together on graduation day, and we are not allowed to go back on it. It was only a dozen months, so he could afford to wait. What I'm saying is, if we still like each other at that time, it will still be a long time. People's hearts are fickle, and maybe we won't like each other by then. Don't worry, I am the most dedicated person. Even my favorite cartoon characters have not changed over the years. If I like you, I will definitely continue to like you. Lu Ning couldn't help but think of the Superman underwear she had seen in his room before. Those were indeed very professional. Lucien had obviously thought of that, and a flash of discomfort flashed across Jun's face as he said, "Anyway, once you say you like me, you are not allowed to like others. By the way, you didn't tell me just now, what is the principal looking for you for?" "Lu Ning, it's for the school anniversary. The principal asked me and Song Tingzi to be the hosts of this school anniversary. So during this period we will definitely meet frequently and exchange words. If you care, I'm afraid you will be angry every day." As expected, Lucien's face darkened when he heard this. "It's not enough for you two to meet at home every day, why do you have to meet all the time even at school? So, you're angry again?" Lucien choked up. I'm not angry. Who said I was angry? Isn't it just the dialogue? I can also help." "How can you help?" Lu Ning looked at him suspiciously. Lucien cleared his voice and said, "I can help you too with my opinions from the perspective of the audience." Lu Ning. This person definitely didn't want to stare at them. "No, you should stay in the classroom and review carefully." Lucien looked at her with a look of resentment and said, "The person I like lives under the same roof as other boys. It's not enough to get along with him day and night every day. Even when we come to school, we have to read lines together in private. If you were me, how could you?" As if nothing happened. How big is his heart? Lu Ning thought about it for a moment, and it seemed that she really couldn't do it. Sometimes trust is one thing, but if you really want to watch the other person get along with other members of the opposite without any grudges, let alone the other person, even you may not be able to do it. Besides, I only promised not to target that kid in the future, but I didn't trust him without saying anything. Even if you have no interest in him, who knows what he thinks? What's more, you forgot that there is another Yushu. I think if she wants to deal with you, she will definitely not give up this opportunity. Even if she has any plan, it won't work." Lucien's voice sounded again, which was irrefutable. "Okay, if you are really worried, you can follow, but you are not allowed to make any noise, and you are not allowed to disturb us." Lu Ning also knew that it was impossible to make him completely reassured, so she made a 3-point agreement with him in advance. "No problem," Lucien responded cheerfully. "As long as this girl agrees to let him follow, nothing else is a problem. With him watching from the side, I don't believe what other ideas the kid can come up with. As for Yushu, he didn't take him seriously at all. If the other party dares to scheme against this girl again, he will definitely find a way to make the other party leave Yishong." End of this chapter. The School Sweetheart Soft Green Plum is Sweet and Wild. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 262. Chapter 262. Cooperation. The news that Lu Ning and Song Tingzi were going to host the school anniversary together soon spread. When Yushu heard it, she was filled with hatred. Why was that girl everywhere? She had forced herself to apologize in public before, but she had always remembered this revenge and had not yet avenged it. You said you wanted to cooperate with me before, does it count? On this day, Lucian came out of the water room and saw Yushu waiting on the way. How do you want to cooperate? Lucian raised his eyebrows lazily, glanced at the other party, and said. Yushu glanced at the pink water glass in the other person's hand that clearly didn't belong to him, with a flash of jealousy in his eyes. That girl is really lucky. There is no shortage of boys around to please you at all times. Then his eyes fell on Lucian's face, which was as good as Song Tingzi's, and his jealous look became more and more obvious. After a moment, he looked away and said, you should have heard that the school plans to arrange for the two of them to host the school anniversary together. What if I say that I want to ruin the two of them on the same stage? I think you don't want to see the two of them standing together. Bar. How do you want to destroy it? Lucian asked calmly. Yushu glanced at him and said, I need your help here. Find a way to prevent her from being there that day. Then I will recommend myself to the principal. What do you think? Yushu said this with an element of temptation. After all, the other party refused to cooperate at first, and then came to visit her. She always felt that there was something wrong with it. No, I promised to cooperate with you, but I didn't promise you to hurt her. Lucian refused without thinking after hearing this, and looked at the other party with cold eyes. I don't care what you plan to do, but if you dare to hurt her, I won't let you go first. Hearing his answer, Yushu finally felt a little more at ease. If the other party agreed no matter what she said, she would have to doubt the other party's intentions. However, because of this, I became more and more jealous of the other party. What's so good about that girl? Let them both protect each other. Yushu took a deep breath, suppressed the jealousy and hatred in her heart, and said, don't worry, I didn't mean to hurt her, I just don't want them to be on the same stage. Or, do you want to see them standing on the stage together? Sure enough, Lucian fell silent. A sarcastic smile appeared on Yushu's lips. Even though she didn't want to see the two of them on the same stage, she didn't believe that the other party could bear it. After a while, Lucian was heard saying, since you don't want the two of them to come on stage to host together, why don't you start with Songting? Of course it's because you have a better relationship with Luning, and she's not on guard against you. Even if you do something, she won't suspect it. You also know that Songting Z is cold to everyone, and I just want to get close to him, the other party will not give me this opportunity. It is naturally not as convenient as starting from Luning. What's more, even if Songting can't make it, the school will arrange other boys. Seeing Lucian's expression relaxed, Yushu continued, a man who achieves success should not stick to trivial matters. I just asked you to think of a way to prevent her from being on stage to host that day, and I didn't ask you to do anything to hurt her. Then you just need to just think of any reason to trip her up, it shouldn't be difficult for you. If you are not willing to do this little thing, I don't think there is any need for us to cooperate. Lucian pondered for a moment and said, okay, I agree. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The School Sweetheart Soft Green Plum is Sweet and Wild. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 263. Chapter 263. Everyone gets what he needs. Soon, the day of the school anniversary arrived. Nanchinj No. 1 Middle School has been established for a century and has cultivated many talents. There are elites from all walks of life, and several of them are people who can often be seen in TV magazines. At the invitation of his alma mater, many people were willing to put aside their work and come back to support him, including Luning's mother, Ms. Tang Li. There are also many elites from other industries. What's more, even the city leaders came, and the scene was very lively. The principal personally led a group of people to greet and entertain them at the school gate. At this time, In the backstage dressing room of the school auditorium, Lu Ning had just changed into a dress and came out. Suddenly, someone ran over and handed her a small note. "Lu Ning, someone asked me to pass this to you." Lu Ning took the note and unfolded it, and saw that there was something important to discuss with her, and she was asked to go to the last room on the second floor now. There was still half an hour before the event started. Lu Ning finally decided to go over and take a look, so she said to a girl who was about to go in to change clothes, "I'm going to leave for a moment. If anyone comes to see me, just tell me that I have something to do, and I'll be there right away." Return. The girl naturally knew her. "We had rehearsed together before." Hearing this, he nodded and said, "Okay, I understand, go ahead." Lu Ning immediately came out from the backstage and went up to the second floor from the other direction of the auditorium. At this time, everyone was busy rehearsing and changing clothes, and no one noticed Lu Ning leaving. On the other hand, Yushu walked out from the corner and watched the other party's figure disappear at the top of the stairs with cold eyes. The second floor of the auditorium is the club office. Very few people usually come here. The last room mentioned in the note is the utility room. Lu Ning pushed the door open and entered, feeling a puff of dust blowing into her face. Because the space in the utility room is closed, there is not even a skylight except for the door, so the environment is very dark. Before Lu Ning had time to adapt to the dim environment inside, she felt someone push her behind. She couldn't help but stumble. When she stood firm, she heard the door being closed behind her. Lu Ning stepped forward quickly, and as expected, the door was locked from the outside. Before she changed into her dress, her mobile phone was given to Lu Xian for safekeeping, so it was impossible to call for help. There were no windows here, so Lu Ning could only knock on the door desperately and said, "Who are you? Open the door quickly and let me out." Outside the door, Yushu listened to the knocking on the door, glanced at the key in her hand, curled her lips coldly, and turned around. Downstairs, Lu Xian saw her coming down from the second floor, walked up and asked, "What did you do to her?" "Don't worry." Yushu handed him the key in her hand and said, "I'm just going to let her stay in the room alone for a while. When the school anniversary starts, you can go up and pretend to find her, and then let her out." "Are you sure she will be fine?" Lu Xianjun frowned, looking a little worried. "What could be the problem?" Yushu disapproved, curled her lips and said, "You are too cautious with her. In fact, I suggest you let her out later. Girls, after experiencing despair, suddenly there is someone if you appear like a to save her, she will definitely be moved. And her defense is at its weakest at that time. Maybe if you say a few words of love, she will agree to be your girlfriend. Of course, the key is in your hands now. It's up to you to decide what to do. It's a win-win situation for both of us." End of this chapter. The School Sweetheart Soft Green Plum is Sweet and Wild. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 264. Chapter 264. Let me try it. There are still 10 minutes left before the school anniversary officially begins. The teacher in charge of this school anniversary told everyone to get ready and they will be on stage soon. Everyone suddenly discovered that their female host was missing. What's going on? Where is Lu Ning? Where has she gone? What time has it been? Why are you still running around? The teacher responsible for organizing the school celebration couldn't find anyone and said angrily in the background. For this school anniversary, the principal made repeated orders and no mistakes were allowed. As a result, at the critical moment, the host did not know where he was. Isn't this causing trouble for her? The girl who was stopped by Lu Ning before said, despite the other party's anger, "Old teacher, Lu Ning told me before that she had to go out for something and would be back soon. But she has been away for a long time and has not come back. But, could something have happened?" The former couldn't help frowning when he heard this and said, "That's nonsense. Does she know what day it is today? The school anniversary is about to begin. At such an important time, as the host, she is not guarding the backstage. Did she think about the consequences if she couldn't make it in time? If any of you had her number, why didn't you call her and urge her to come over quickly? Teacher, we don't have her number. Everyone looked at each other in confusion. Let me fight. At this moment, Song Tingzi, who was standing aside, suddenly said. There were many people peeking at him originally, but after hearing him speak, everyone's eyes were focused on him openly. Today, Song Tingzi specially changed into the uniform prepared for him by the school. Wearing a black suit with a white shirt and a red bow tie, the young man's clean and pure temperament is fully displayed. Song Tingzi has very good skin and almost no makeup on her face. She only applied a thin layer of powder and some highlighter for the stage effect. However, her hair was waxed and her bangs were combed back, revealing her smooth forehead. Without the obstruction of bangs, the chiseled eyebrows and eyes are fully revealed, and the facial features become clearer and clearer. The whole person is like a polished sword, making people unable to take their eyes away. Everyone was immediately impressed. It's just that the other party usually doesn't talk much, and his aloof image is deeply rooted in people's hearts, so even if the little deer bumps into each other, no one dares to come up and strike up a conversation. Song Tingzi dialed Lu Ning's cell phone under the watchful eyes of everyone, but the phone showed that it was turned off. No one answered her phone. Song Tingzi put down the phone and said, "What's going on with this Lu Ning? She usually looks quite measured, but why is she so uneasy this time?" The teacher in charge frowned fiercely and said to the others, "Everyone, please stop looking. Come on, help me find it. The school celebration will start soon. How can we start the event without a host?" It's just that everyone looked around but couldn't find Lu Ning. Seeing that the opening time was coming, the teacher responsible for organizing the school anniversary was very angry, but there was no point in being angry at the moment. He just thought about it and couldn't think of any good solution. He could only look at Song Tingzi and said, "Have you ever? How can I host it alone?" Just as Song Tingzi was about to speak, he heard a voice saying, "Teacher, let me try it. I have taken a special broadcasting and hosting training class before, and it will be no problem even if I come on temporarily. And my memory is also good, as long as I give it only takes me a few minutes to memorize the script." End of this chapter. The School Sweetheart. Soft green plum is sweet and wild. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 265. Chapter 265. What a pity. The teacher in charge of organizing the school anniversary looked her over and said, "Your name is Yushu, right? The teachers in the school will pay more or less attention to the top students in each grade. Even if they are not students in their own class, they can usually call them by name." "Yes," Teacher Yushu said and glanced at Song Tingzi next to him. "Song and I are classmates." At the front desk, the principal had already taken the leaders and guests to their seats, and took the time to go backstage. Seeing everyone standing with solemn expressions, he couldn't help but ask, "Teacher Zhao, how are the preparations going?" The teacher in charge of the organization was undecided when he saw the other party hurriedly saying, "Principal, you came just in time. I don't know where Lu Ning went. She hasn't come back yet, and I can't find anyone on the phone. I was just thinking if you really can't make it in time, let student Song take charge. But just now, student Yushu said that she can give it a try. Do you think so?" Yushu also looked at the other party and said, "Principal, just let me try. I am confident that I can do a good job and will not embarrass our school." The principal looked at the other party, his brows furrowed into a Sichuan shape. There are so many guests and leaders in the audience, this school celebration is absolutely not allowed to be messed up. This Lu Ning would really make trouble for him. "Okay, then." Just as the principal was about to let go, he heard a voice. "Wait a moment. Immediately afterwards, Lu Ning hurried over with her dress in hand and said, "I'm sorry, principal, I'm late." Seeing the other party, Yu Shu's hand hanging by her side clenched tightly. The other party should not be locked up in the utility room on the second floor now, so how could he appear here? Only a little bit, she was almost able to replace him and host the school anniversary together with Song Tingzi. How does this Lu Xian do things? Student Lu Ning, where have you been? Do you know how important this school anniversary is? If the school anniversary cannot be held because of you, have you thought about the consequences? As soon as the principal saw the other party, he immediately scolded him with a straight face. Voice. I'm sorry, principal, I didn't mean it. Someone locked me in the room on purpose and didn't want me to host the school anniversary, Lu Ning said and glanced in Yu Shu's direction. Yu Shu's eyebrows couldn't help but her heart skipped a beat. She didn't show up just now, so how could the other party know that the person who locked the door was her? I then comforted myself that it was okay. The other party must have guessed that there was no surveillance on the second floor. The other party had no evidence to accuse me this time. It's a pity that such a good opportunity was missed. Yu Shu still felt unwilling to do so after thinking about it. What did you say? The principal frowned upon hearing this, with a dignified expression on his face. Headmaster, look. Lu Ning handed the note she had received before to the other party. When I was backstage, someone handed me this note and tricked me into going to the utility room on the second floor, trying to lock me in. Fortunately, someone found out and released me in time. The principal glanced at the note and became extremely angry when he thought that in the school he led, a student would do such a thing. This was not just teasing his classmates, but also going against the school. He clearly wanted the school to be in trouble. He made a fool of himself in front of the guests and leaders. However, considering that the school anniversary is about to start, and there are still a bunch of people waiting under the stage, even if you want to deal with this matter, you have to wait until the school anniversary is over. I understand this matter. No matter who it is, making trouble on an occasion like the school anniversary, it must be dealt with seriously. But now, you should prepare well for going on stage. Everything else will wait until the school anniversary is over. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The School Sweetheart Soft Green Plum is sweet and wild. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 266. Chapter 266 Temptation. Okay, Lu Ning agreed without hesitation. She also knew that it was not a matter of pursuing responsibility now. Some accounts must be settled slowly afterwards. There are still a few minutes left, so get ready. After the principal warned, he returned to the front desk. The teacher in charge of organizing the activity glanced at Lu Ning and wanted to say something, but thought that the other party was also set up and rushed back at the critical moment. What's more, the event is about to start. If you talk too much, it will easily affect the other person's mood. He swallows the words on his lips and urges others, the event will start in a while. Let's take a look to see if everyone is here. Yes, is there anyone who hasn't come yet? He said as he went to the front to make a final inspection of the stage equipment and layout. Others also dispersed to do their own things. After everyone had dispersed, Song Tingzi looked at Lu Ning and said, "Are you okay?" "It's okay." Lu Ning shook her head, and then her eyes fell on Yu Shu, who had been staying in the background. Seeing the other party looking over, the latter said with a smile, "Student Lu Ning is really lucky. He can save the day at critical moments every time." "Yeah, maybe I'm born with luck." Lu Ning also smiled. Looking at the smile on her face, Yu Shu felt it was very annoying, and her hands hanging by her sides tightened involuntarily. Just wait and see, she doesn't believe that a person's luck will always be so good. Lu Ning suddenly changed her tone, However, as far as I know, Yushu doesn't seem to be performing on stage today, so why does he appear backstage? Yushu twitched her lips and said, I was just curious and came over to take a look. There seems to be no rule that outsiders must not enter the backstage. Indeed. But aren't you curious about who released me? Lu Ning asked with a smile. However, although he was smiling, there was not much smile in his eyes. How do I know this? Yushu felt inexplicably uneasy. This familiar conversation method reminded her of the confrontation with the other party after changing pens that day. However, last time she was unprepared and was tricked by the other party. This time, she will not leave any evidence. If the other party plans to use the same trick again, then she will be disappointed. She would not fall for the same trick a second time. Lu Ning smiled and did not continue. Yushu was originally worried, but when she saw that the other party didn't continue, she calmed down a little. I think the other party must be doubting herself, but so what? She has no evidence to prove that she did it, right? There were no surveillance cameras in either the backstage dressing room or the second floor. She had already checked this in advance. No one would know that she was the one who wrote the note and locked the door. Oh, only one person knows about it. However, the two of them have the same purpose, and they don't think the other party will betray him. Song Tingzi glanced at Yushu, then at Lu Ning, as if he couldn't see the undercurrent between the two girls, and said to Lu Ning, it's almost time, get ready to go on stage. Lu Ning immediately withdrew her gaze and stopped looking at Yushu, as if the other person was just an insignificant person. Yushu reluctantly looked at the two figures walking side by side towards the stage. A hint of jealousy flashed through her eyes again. From the corner of her eye, she inadvertently saw Lucian standing at the entrance to the backstage. End of this chapter. The School Sweetheart Soft Green Plum is Sweet and Wild. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 267. Chapter 267 Not Too Stupid. It seems that the other party has been standing for a while. Could it be that he came with Lu Ning? Thinking that I had given the key to the other party for safekeeping before, and it was very likely that the other party had released the person, I immediately cursed in my heart that the other party failed to succeed and failed more than failed. She had clearly agreed to let her go after the school anniversary started. Now there were only a few minutes left before the school anniversary started. She was about to convince the principal, but the other party let him go at this time. Does he know what he is doing? The more Yushu thought about it, the angrier she became. She strode towards the other party. When she opened her mouth, she said in an accusatory tone, "What on earth did you do? Didn't I ask you to wait until the event started before releasing her? Now look at, are you satisfied with them standing on the stage together?" Well, I'm quite satisfied at this time. Lucian's eyes were completely on the stage. His girl was walking towards the center of the stage step by step, confident and calm, and her whole figure seemed to be glowing. That is another completely different kind of beauty shown by her who is usually low-key. He regretted not being able to see her standing in front of the podium. Now, how could he miss her standing on the stage? You don't know what you are talking about, Yushu thought she had heard wrongly. Seeing that the other party's eyes were focused on him, Yushu suddenly became angry. Lucian then looked away and looked at the other person and said, "Of course I know what I am doing. You have always been the one who didn't know." "What do you mean?" Yushu couldn't help but narrowed her eyes slightly. "She is not stupid, she is just a little impulsive," and she almost immediately sensed something was wrong in the other person's words. "So you did it on purpose. When you said you wanted to cooperate with me before, you were basically lying to me, or did you just care about deliberately luring me into the trap?" There is something else Yushu doesn't understand at this moment. It's not too stupid. Lucian didn't like the other person, and he didn't intend to go around in circles with him. "I've known for a long time that people like you won't be too peaceful. If you put this time bomb next to that girl, you have to worry about her all the time. I am prepared to think of ways to harm others again, so I might as well take the initiative. Pretend to cooperate and take the initiative in my own hands. If I prevent you from harming others, I might be able to find an opportunity for you to leave number 1 middle school. Won't the opportunity come now? Yushu's expression changed slightly. He opened his eyes suddenly and stared in Lucian's direction, saying, "Are you plotting against me?" It can't be called a calculation. It must be said that it is just a plan. If you have no intention of harming others, how can we calculate you? You have planned that girl again and again before, because it did not cause any actual harm to the girl. I can't do anything to you, just ask you to apologize in public, it's too easy for you. This time, you plotted against that girl to ruin the school anniversary. Do you think the principal will let you go as easily as last time? What do you want? Yushu thought of the principal's reaction before and guessed that the other party would definitely hold him accountable afterwards, and couldn't help but asked with an ugly face. Lucian, I'm not worried about you continuing to stay in number 1 middle school. Who knows when you will come out and harm others again, so you can apply for transfer yourself. Impossible, Yushu refused. Number 1 middle school is one of the best in Nanjing in terms of teachers, management level, environment, and hardware facilities. If she changes to another school, it will definitely not be better than number 1 middle school. End of this chapter. The School Sweetheart Soft Green Plum is Sweet and Wild. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 268. Chapter 268. She is unwilling. So what if I did this? Don't forget, you were also involved. What's more, I've seen it a long time ago. There is no surveillance backstage or on the second floor. There is no evidence, just based on your words. Who would believe it? Who says there is no evidence? I am the evidence. As long as I stand up and expose you to the principal, do you think he will believe it? So what if you can prove it? I can definitely say that it was you who came up with the idea. Don't forget, the key is in your hand in the end. The two of us are just grasshoppers on the same rope. If we really make trouble, no one will run away. No, besides, my behavior is just a prank between classmates at best, and even the principal can't do anything to me for this matter. The most is a warning, as long as she does well in the college entrance examination, for the sake of being in a prestigious school. The school will naturally cancel the admission rate when the time comes, so she is not worried at all. Not to mention that staying would disgust them, so why not? Are you so sure that the principal will not do anything to you? Lucian spoke slowly, as if he deliberately slowed down his tone. Then why not ask our principal? What do you mean? Yushu suddenly had a bad premonition. I saw Lucian suddenly stood aside, revealing a small door behind him. Because it was usually covered by a curtain, it was not easy to be discovered. But at this moment, the small door was half open, and he was supposed to greet the guests and leaders. Our principal is standing behind the door. The face that originally looked kind was now full of plainness. Principal, Yushu was startled, and her face turned pale. There was something she didn't understand at this moment. This time, she was completely plotted. The principal looked at the two people with a stern face and said, "When the event is over, you two will come to my office together." After saying that, he walked towards the audience seat. Yushu immediately turned around, glared at Lucian angrily and said, "You really want to kick me out of number 1 middle school?" Yes, Lucian did not deny his intention. As long as the other party stayed in school for 1 day, he might plot against the girl again. Only one can commit a thief in 1,000 days, but there is no one who can guard against a thief in 1,000 days. He couldn't do nothing and just wait for the other party to find a way to plot against the girl. The hatred in Yushu's eyes became even stronger. It was all for Lu Ning's sake. She looked at Lucian and said coldly, "It's a pity, even so, the school can't force me to transfer as long as I don't want to. You are wrong. Citizens have freedom of movement and are not authorized by public power. Others have no right to deprive them of it. Intentionally locking others in the room has constituted an illegal restriction of personal freedom. The school has the right to expel students who violate laws and disciplines. That's a serious situation with a very bad impact. I shouldn't be able to reach that level. What's more, the other party did not suffer any substantial harm. The school cannot expel her based on this reason. In short, as long as she doesn't want to, they can't even think about kicking themselves out of school. Then what if we add what happened before? If the school publicly criticizes you and makes all the things you have done before and this time public in the school, are you sure you can continue to stay in this school? Lucien's voice was not loud, but every word seemed to hit Yushu's heart. Yushu's brows tightened unconsciously. My heart is getting heavier and heavier. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The School Sweetheart Soft Green Plum is sweet and wild. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 269. Chapter 269. People's words are scary. With your grades, even if you transfer to another school, I believe you can adapt quickly. Why do you have to stay here and accept everyone's strange eyes? Or do you think that even if everyone knows what you have done, they will still do it, treat you as before? It is naturally impossible. She still knows these 4 words. People's words are scary. People like them, who have achieved excellent results since childhood and grew up in the praise of others, are the children of other families that parents like to talk about most. People who have been used to being praised since childhood have their own pride. Lucien bet that she would not be willing to face such a result. Sure enough, after Lucien finished speaking, Yushu's entire figure seemed to be surrounded by a black aura. Even his face was several degrees darker. The school celebration lasted for 2 hours. It is said that the school spent millions on this event. The scene layout, equipment construction, costumes and props, and the content of the program were all unprecedented. After the school anniversary, everyone was still unsatisfied. The hosts, Luning and Song Tingzi, attracted even more attention, and their photos were spread throughout the circle of friends. As soon as the school anniversary ended, Yushu, Lucien, and Luning were invited to the principal's office. Also invited were the head teachers of the 2 classes. After seeing off the leaders and alumni guests, the principal returned to the office. He looked at Lucien and said, "Tell me, what is going on?" "Principal, let me do the talking." As the only male student and the invisible mastermind of this incident, no one knew the entire incident better than him. "Okay, you say it." "It's like this, classmate Yushu found me before." Lucien explained clearly when the other party found him, proposed to cooperate with him, and the other party's entire plan, and even how the 2 discussed it. In fact, the whole thing was very simple. Yushu took the initiative to find him, hoping that he could help her become the host. And he pretended to agree in order to find out what the other party was going to do. First, the other party deliberately deceived the person out and then locked the person up so that Luning could not rush back to host. When the time came, Yushu would take her place and he would be responsible for releasing Luning. It's just that the 2 of them agreed to release the person after the event started, but Lucien released the person in advance, causing her plan to fail. However, although the other party's purpose has not been achieved, it does not mean that the things she has done do not exist. Lucien deliberately concealed the fact that Yushu liked Song Tingzi, but she happened to know that he liked Luning. Yushu's behavior is only characterized as wanting to host today's activities. The purpose was not to involve Luning. Yushu knew the other party's purpose and curled her lips sarcastically, but said nothing. "Because I know that even if I say it, I can't do anything to the two of them. Since you want to be the host, why don't you come to me and tell me, the principal asked, frowning. I told you, principal, are you willing to choose me? You all like Lu Ning and think she is better than me. I just want a chance to prove that I am not inferior to her. Yushu lowered her eyes, looking aggrieved. The appearance said. From the previous conversation with Lu Xian, she had already figured out what kind of result she wanted. Then, before things get to the worst, she must strive for the most favorable conditions for herself. End of this chapter. The School Sweetheart Soft Green Plum is Sweet and Wild. Author, Pearfish. Chapter 270. Chapter 270. Stay calm. Naturally, the principal would not expose the matter just because of a few words from the other party, but since the students raised objections to his arrangement, he naturally had to explain, classmate Yushu, the teachers will choose Lu Ning because they think she is more suitable. Since you have such an idea, you should have brought it up from the beginning, and we will naturally consider it instead of doing such a thing. Fortunately, Lu Ning was released in time today, otherwise, have you thought about the consequences? Yushu could not help but retort, I have no intention of ruining the school anniversary. I have already thought about it. When the time comes, I will take the stage in his place. I will definitely not embarrass our number 1 middle school. You're just fooling around, the principal scolded him. As a student, the first priority is to study hard, and the second is to obey the teacher's arrangements. You didn't even listen to the teacher's arrangements. You deceived and locked out your classmates, which is a serious violation of the rules. According to the school rules and regulations, the school will definitely deal with this matter seriously and ask your parents to come to the school tomorrow. Then he glared at Lu Xian again. Since you knew about her arrangements earlier, you should have informed the teacher in advance. The teacher will handle these matters. I'm sorry, principal, I know I made a mistake. Lu Xian was more obedient this time and quickly admitted his mistakes. Originally, holding a school anniversary was a happy event, but now because of this incident, it has seriously affected the principal's mood. Now seeing them all feeling upset, he said to the two of them with a straight face, okay, you two go back first. Then he looked at Lu Ning, his face softened a little. Today's hosting was wonderful, and it proved that the teachers did not make mistakes. You are very good. We need more versatile students like you in our number 1 middle school. Thank you, Principal. Lu Ning's expression was calm, and he did not show any joy at being praised. The principal nodded secretly. She is a calm girl. By the way, don't let your parents know what happened today, so as not to worry them. I understand, Principal. Lu Ning was not surprised that the other party would make such a request. The other party should be worried that their family members would come to the school to demand explanations after finding out. The other party did this because they did not want to make the matter a big deal. However, can I ask how the school will handle this matter? She let the other party go easily last time, but this time, she did not intend to just let it go. The principal was very satisfied with her reaction and said slowly, don't worry, number 1 middle school is a place that pays attention to school ethos and discipline. If something like this happens, the school will definitely deal with it seriously. Thank you, Principal, I'll go back first. She felt relieved when she heard the other person say that. Coming out of the office, he saw Lu Xian still standing outside the door. Seeing her come out, Lu Xian stood up straight, waited for her to approach and said, did the principal say how he would deal with her? No, I just said that we will deal with it seriously. The principal left the head teachers of the two classes behind, presumably to discuss how to handle this matter. Don't worry, she won't be able to stay in number 1 middle school this time. Lu Xian curled his lips, and he finally breathed a sigh of relief for the girl. How do you know? Lu Ning looked at the other party suspiciously. Speaking of this matter, it was only after she was released from the locked room that she realized it was Yushu's fault. As for when the two people had contact and when they discussed it together, She had no idea at all. Affection. End of this chapter.